If I was starting Brazilian Jiu Jitsu at 45 today, knowing what I know now, I would train very differently from how I trained when I first began. Not softer, not more cautiously, but more deliberately. I think the biggest mistake older beginners make isn't intensity, it's copying the wrong model. Most people walk into the gym and they unconsciously copy the 25-year-olds. They copy the volume, they copy the pace, they copy the mindset, they even copy the expectations. And that works when you're young and resilient, but it becomes a big problem when you're not. Now, if I was starting at 45, the first thing I would do is accept that recovery is now part of my training, not something that just happens as an afterthought. I would plan my week around quality sessions, not maximum sessions. Maybe 2 or 3 focus sessions done properly would be far more valuable than 5 chaotic ones that leave me inflamed and sore and frustrated. The second thing I would do is choose my training partners more carefully, not because I'm afraid of hard rounds, but because I would understand that every round has a cost. At 45, you don't get unlimited attempts, and rolling with someone who treats every exchange as a competition round might build toughness, but it won't necessarily build skill. Now, that doesn't mean avoiding younger or bigger people. It just means being selective. It means deciding when a hard round serves a purpose and when it simply feeds the ego. And this is something that I've learned the hard way. Even though I'm a black belt now, I genuinely feel like I've still got lots of areas and skills to catch up on. I spent far too many years at lower belts fighting wars and trying to keep up with younger guys instead of refining my movement and my understanding of jiu-jitsu. I mistook intensity for development and I confused surviving hard rounds with improving. What I built was resilience, but not necessarily efficiency. Now, if I was starting at 45 today, I would protect my learning more than my pride. And this is where control comes in. In my classes, I always emphasize that the goal is not the submission, the goal is control. Most people think that the tap is the objective and they chase the finish. They scramble for the arm, the leg, the neck, whatever it is. But if you can't control someone properly, the submission is unstable and exhausting. Control is the real currency of jiu-jitsu, and if you take that one step further, the long-term goal isn't just control, it's effortless control, and that, I think, is the real difference. Effortless control means that you're not straining, you're not panicking, you're not forcing positions. It means you understand weight distribution, posture, frames, timing. It means you can hold someone without burning yourself out. And at 45, that matters more than ever, I think. That's why if I was starting now, I would focus almost obsessively on becoming difficult to move, difficult to flatten out, difficult to isolate. I'd spend months learning how to control space before I worried about finishing. Because if you can control someone properly, then the submission appears out all by itself. It's just there. You don't have to chase it. Now, another thing that I would do differently is control my rounds instead of letting my rounds control me. When you're new, especially as an older beginner, it's easy to spend entire sessions reacting. You're constantly behind, you're constantly defending, you're constantly bracing. Instead, I would pick 1 or 2 simple problems and work on them repeatedly. Escaping side control, recovering guard, establishing underhooks. Repetition builds confidence. Randomness just builds stress and anxiety. Now, I'd also stop comparing myself to people who started at 20. Their timeline is not your timeline. Their recovery is not your recovery, and their goals might not even be your goals. If you start at 45, your advantage isn't athleticism, it's patience, it's perspective, it's the ability to understand that the long game is what matters. Now, one more thing I would do is take strength and mobility seriously from day one. Not bodybuilding, not chasing numbers on the bench, just basic strength, joint integrity, and movement quality. Stronger tissues tolerate training better. Better movement reduces panic. You don't need to become an athlete, you need to become durable. So if I started at 45 today, I wouldn't try to be the hardest working person in the room. I would try to be the most deliberate. I would measure my progress by how easily I can control someone, not how quickly I can tap them, because Brazilian Jiu Jitsu isn't about proving you can endure chaos. It's about learning to manage chaos. And if you can develop effortless control at 45, you're not behind, you're building something that can last.